Good afternoon and welcome to the lounge on Ray Power FM. Well, not the regular voice you hear on the lounge, but yeah, I can promise that I'll definitely be good sport with you this afternoon. I'm the Prince on radio and entitled to have a superstar with us. It's a lunch date, so to speak, that we're having with someone, a very interesting personality that you definitely would be looking forward to having a word with, because yes, you're an important part of everything that we do around here, and this conversation is something that you're welcome to be part of. I'll be unveiling my guest very shortly, but just so you know, you can be part of the conversation. Just get on with us on Instagram, where we are live. Okay, at Great Power Network is the handle on Instagram. Get on with us, and we will give you the chance to also be part of the conversation with our guest, who we'll be bringing on very shortly. So it promises you everything that you want as far as the lounge is concerned. Get your popcorn, get your drink. If you don't have, stick around. The waiter is with it. They're going to serve it around. They will come to you in a very short while. It is the Prince hanging out with you on the lounge. Koffi actually, alongside a whole lot of superstars on that one off the album Ability. This one is one from way back, but I'm sure that interaction with the police is something you can relate to. It's something that's happened to the best of us, happens to the worst of us. We all have our experiences with the Nigerian police. Very interesting one with the storytelling in this particular tune of that album that I did mention earlier, Ability. The song's titled What's Up As Gary. Now, given that profile of who I have said earlier that we're going to be having on the show this afternoon, you must have guessed easily, because he's the one who's been described by many as Nigeria's most versatile entertainer. Talking about all the works that he has done. He's a comedian, he's an actor, he's a singer, he's a writer, he's a producer. He does everything. I mean, when you think entertainment, Koffi does everything. Did I just mention the name? Well, yes, we have Koffi as our guest on the launch date this afternoon. And you can join on Instagram because it's not just about Koffi and I. It's not just about the guest and us. It's also important that you also have that chance to interact with some of our celebrities, some people that you probably before now have had questions about their careers and stuff that's going on with them that you want to be part of. Then you can join us live on Instagram and let's have that conversation. So back in 2000, and I will remember the year. Back in 2004, 2005-ish.
2005.
Now, me, I dey give you gist now. I dey give you gist now. This man wey you dey see here for Instagram live, this man wey dey tell me now say make I no follow am Koffi again, so that Koffi that good. Big shout out to you, massive shout out to you, massive respect to you with everything you have done in the industry, what you've done for the game. For the games, because it's not even just one game. I am somebody who I can look back today and say everything I have done really came from, sometimes it's just about that moment. It's just about, I was just that young boy on campus who was just doing my thing, who just felt this thing is supposed to run out for this campus now. We had never done anything like that on that campus in Ekpe at the time, which you mentioned. Since you mentioned it already, more master just from there. And, I think we had just met, we met, maybe it was at when just said, or probably your set in, I think it was at Yaba OJ's or something at the time. I don't even remember where we met, but somehow you just took me in like a brother. And me, I just said, I don't Koffi now. Koffi, you took me to several shows. You remember the Medo Charles show for Sulere all that year. Those are the things we have done outside here. Wait, I can't say, bros, I get show for campus, so where did Koffi come? And Koffi, we had never known, we had even discussed money, we didn't talk money, we didn't talk anything. And Koffi left Lagos. And the fact that at some point when you go there, you say you don't want money for Nigeria. With the distance that you had to drive, that was massive. And for me, as a young person, that was a major, if I look back today, that being able to pull off that show, bring you guys, at that time were already the big guys in the game. It was massive for me as a young person coming up. Thank you once again. I know I've said this several times, but I'm happy about the opportunity to thank you again for it.
Your people say Tabadu Koreano. If you are saying this thank you over and over again, hoping that I will enter road and get you again. No. I looked around. I started, realigning with the environment. The ideas I brought from home that couldn't work, I push it aside. And the guys were even surprised that we can shoot this kind of movie here. Hey, 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 Uncle Tony, I see you. So I said, now where you find yourself, you go operate. I've shot 2 movies and I've started a TV series here. And every other thing around me, I'm making do with the environment. I'm not waiting for somebody to come and say, who knows, I might birth a new process here for others coming behind me. And that's me. I like to open up options and opportunities for others. I don't know how to be a sole benefactor. For me, I see myself as a ladder most times for other people too. So if I can take the risk, if I can bear the brunt for others to gain, I don't mind. And I don't.
This that you just touched on makes a whole lot of sense.
So when I got to the point and realized that I am a ladder, it's not about be. I don't like fame. First and foremost, I think that's where it comes from. I don't like being popular. I don't like fame. I don't like being out there. Okay, so if I can pour some of those elements into other people and push them and usher them to the major stage, oh, well and good. I remember one time somebody was mocking me for not doing a skit that would trend like Josh Too Funny was doing at the time. Now, the person didn't realize that I was the one who created Josh Too Funny. I was just laughing at the person.
I know about that. I know.
So
Some of
I
us
was
know that
just
story.
laughing. So lately, Master Lee is trending with the Chinese sing along thing. The industry was not ready when I was taking Master Lee all over the place and introducing him to the biggest stages. So for me, that is my fulfillment. Having to look back to see the people you mentored and pushed out there do good. They are your future. They are the ones that will go ahead of you. Because as each generation grows, as each sorry, my daughter is going to school. As each generation grows, things get improved, and then the newer ones go into places that you can no longer go to. Then when it is time, they now bring you along. Unfortunately, most people don't understand those principles. Now, it doesn't matter if you invest yourself, time, resources in some people and they don't do good in return. The parable of the talents has already taught us that. I don't know why people don't take the lessons in the Bible and apply it to real life. Those lessons are there for us to know that 10 will go out, some will fall on the stone and die, some will fall by the roadside and legs will match it, it will not grow. Some will fall in the places where birds will eat,
I hope
but
say you
some will
dey
fall
plan
in the
pass
middle.
for work join all this your listeners.
No, no, no.
No,
Some
no,
will
you
fall.
no carry pass for work join.
No, this is just me saying the principles of life.
Yeah,
That you
yeah,
would
yeah.
invest in a million, only one will come back to say thank you. So if you have that understanding, nothing will discourage you. You already know. You already
Yeah.
know this before putting yourself out there. And then basically, why are we here? We're here to help others. That is the problem Nigeria is having right now. We have too many people having so much, not realizing the principle of lifting others. So that's why you see politicians amass so much wealth from the fear of going back to poverty. If only they can just spread it out and everybody is good. So for me, spread it.
I mean, there's so much wisdom in what you just said, and the world, the entertainment industry, in fact, the whole world, really, the entertainment industry as well, would be a lot better if we had more people who are not scared of the successes of those behind them. They're not scared to,
Not,
push other people
not
out. They're not
me.
scared to allow other people to shine. I mean, it's really, really encouraging to know that we have your lights. Now, something that is discouraging is make we talk Nigeria matter. Now, it's not like I live other people's lives for them, but when you look around, for me personally, you are some of those that I look around and I'm like, I'm happy day alright. When I hear people say, oh, more come off for Nigeria or this Nigeria is not working with less people, and I look around me, I still feel like not because you don't want to leave, but you did alright. You did not jump out because everywhere this Nigeria, they work again and they come out at all costs. When people like you start to leave Nigeria, it tells a totally different story than when the average person just feels frustrated and just wants to go. In that interview that I watched you, talk about, you also mentioned the fact that there's been a massive exodus, even in comedy. A lot of comedians too have also left the country in the last 1 or 2 years. Let's revisit your own decision and what led to your decision to move. I know it has to do with one of the children as well, or your children, really, raising kids.
Major reason is to prepare a better space for the kids. Because as we speak, I still get jobs in Lagos, Nigeria. I sneak in and sneak out. People don't know. It was because I wanted people to know I was around in November, December. And it's because I wanted to push out a lot of Ashley materials. But I still get, I can show you demands for my service in Lagos. So, and my visa permits me to go back and forth. So I move in and out. So I can be anywhere anytime. But you see, when you push your family abroad and decide to leave them there and hustle from Nigeria, teenagers need their father for a lot of reasons. If I wasn't here on ground, for instance, 1 or 2 things might have gone wrong, leaving my wife with 3 kids to handle alone. But a father figure is what America has lost in a long time. That's why a lot of American young people are in jail today. They don't have father figures. So I need to be the father on ground for my kids. It's not about money or I'm doing well in Lagos. It's not the future. My children will not remember that. What they will remember the most is my presence in the house all the time.
Koffi, we know that there's a lot with the Nigerian system, but what was that deal breaker for you that made you realize that, no, this place, I cannot have my kids continue to grow up and develop in this environment?
Is the toxicity on social media. The degrading and depressing banter and the way we react online. It's too bad. Day in, day out. Okay, a few days back, I saw a post on a platform that was trying to hit up engagement between 2 artists. Ironically, one of the artists is actually a veteran and an upcomer who is just blowing up, keeps throwing shades and insults at the veteran. And I just go into the comment section and say, this platform, you should not be encouraging this. If some other platforms carry it and you repost it, but it was you people who granted the interview, you are now posting it on your page, showing a young artist insulting a legend. And I said, this is not what you should be encouraging. And lo and behold, one young boy goes there to start insulting me, bearing in mind that this young person was probably not even born, as at the time I was already a major artist. And I checked, and it confirms to me again that most of the time on these platforms, it is upcoming artists that go to insult established brands. And a lot of this gets to me. I am not a man who speaks too much unless I'm paid to talk. I observe and give my opinion where necessary. But whenever I give it, I always notice that it causes some sort of escalation. So I pulled back a lot from social media. And I noticed that, like me, a lot of people who have resourceful materials and valuable stuff to give online have started pulling away. And when I see the engagement, the use of language, the bad English, everything, I'm like, God, my daughter is, you just saw her leave for school now. She's going to be in this circle very soon. Is this how my daughter too will be relating? Is this how my son will be relating? I'm not saying there are no bad things in these other places, but in a place where there's some sort of control and some sort of thoughtful process in the things they do, those are the climes where your children should be brought up. They can see the reward of hard work. But Nigeria right now, presently, the things that they media and entertainers are pushing young people to do is mostly negative things. I don't feel the need to fear anybody to say it. A lot of the songs keep encouraging Yahoo. A lot of the
True.
skits and movies keep encouraging home break, prostitution. It is always negative stories that we depict. But here, abroad, you see movies on horror, drama, thriller. But Nigeria, it is very toxic. Most of the movies, people are shouting, they are fighting. Comedy is about who has there's no diversity in the content that we now push. It is just one way. And for me, that's not how we should grow. So I had no choice but to just take that leap for a while, sacrifice the moment, let the kids, And funny thing is, when we were kids, our parents did the same thing. They sacrificed for us. It was not
Yeah.
about what they were earning. No. They just knew that at this point in time, priority was on these kids, and they did everything to make sure we were good. So it's time for me to do the same thing. I am famous. I make money. I have, I'm resourceful. I have good connects. What else am I looking for? Unfortunately, most people believe that you have to be everywhere at the same time to be relevant. If you don't see me often enough, just know that I'm busier at the back end, and I don't need to tell you. So for me, I have achieved more than I even set out to achieve for myself. I'm 47, and as at the time I was 40, I looked at all I have achieved and I was shocked. And I'm like, God, I never saw this happening in my life. I have over 30 movies without taking a loan from a bank. I have written
Yes.
2 books. I have over 400 songs. I have, so all these things just make me feel like, okay,
Some of the people who, I mean, you are the entertainer, but some of the people who call themselves or who we know as just singers do not even have half the number of songs that you have, Kofi.
I have the highest catalog of music in Nigeria. I just don't make noise about it. Except for Fuji artists and Juju artists. I have the highest catalog. But people don't know, and I'm not ready to come to the marketplace and argue with anybody. When it's time, those who want to know will know. Those who need it. You see, what we don't know is this. We think everything must be out in the public. There's something called sync licensing. There are various ways to use music. I make almost every movie I make has a soundtrack album. So I constantly have music in my kitty to throw on my projects. So that's where the real money is. But people think until you have a hit song and go and perform at shows, that's when you are good.
Yeah.
No. We're preparing for a future where you don't need to jump up and down anymore. Just put your music, your catalog in your movies or in other people's projects, and that's the future. But Nigeria is not yet there. We're still at unless you blow. And that's why every artist wants to constantly blow. No, you don't need to blow. Once you have presence, all you just need is catalog, continuous archive of music over time. I am just now discovering some Bob Marley songs that I didn't know. And those songs are the ones I'm loving the more now. I just found out Nat King Cole had 2 versions of a song that I used to love. He re-recorded it. Now I'm preparing the original version I didn't know. And that's what this thing does for you. When you have it, when it is time and the future needs it, they will go. Look at all the Tupac materials that started coming out long after he died. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
when people ask me which is Tupac's best album, and I mention my best and favorite Tupac album is Are You Still Down? Then Dunk Illuminati. You'll be wondering, are you still down? Which one be that one? Because these were mostly the songs he recorded when he was doing Strictly for My Niggas and Me Against the World. The time when his poetry was really coming out. So for me to, there are like 2 songs that I have never released in my life. And those are the best 2 songs that I love that I have done. And I have never released it out to the public. Maybe years later when I'm gone, My children will now dig it out and say, ah, this is one
And
of
then they
Kofi's
release
songs that people
it.
never heard.
Ooh.
And they will now release and people like, eh? Meanwhile, the song has the same bass line from Tales by Moonlight. Years
Oh,
later, Kiss Daniel will use the same bass line and idea to do peperi pe peperi pepe. But me, I had
exactly.
recorded my own as far
You
back
had
as
recorded it a long
2004.
time.
2004,
Wow.
I had recorded Johnny 2004, but I never released it. But if you now hear it sometime in the future, you'll be like, ah, Kiss Daniel used this in that. But I don't need to come out and explain to you. So sometimes
Interesting.
you just do you, not
Exactly.
because everybody is just do that thing that your spirit calls you to do and enjoy it. If you don't enjoy it, no one else will enjoy it. Actually, I've always been doing stuff, but you people don't turn up. I did a Muludu night the other December. You people did. Okay. This is one thing I've been doing that people don't know yet. I'm the only
Yeah.
contemporary Nigerian artist who has been doing a medley album back to back for the past 4 5 years, and people don't know. Muludu is a medley that people have not discovered. The day they now discover it, they'll be like, ah, when Koffi do this one? By which time I will not move on to other things.
Shadi,
Thank you
yeah.
so much. I love you guys. I love what you're doing. You know, I always support you guys. I'm always there for you. People don't know I rap, so I'll leave that one aside. I did a whole trap album in 2018. If you go on
So I'm
Instagram and
coming
check for
to.
Monkey, boy named
Oh,
Monkey,
okay.
I am the one. I am the one. Boy named Monkey.
You're listening to the voice of Kofi Takuru. We're having a lunch date. That's what this is. I must say, we're having Okay, so we'll take a music break. But before we do that, I want Kofi to talk about this one because this is a song that, at the time you dropped this song, I know that it was something that we also rotated a lot here on Ray Power FM. And it's one that had to do with I know that I mean, for someone who's done more than 400 songs, there would hardly be anything at all in this life that you wouldn't have talked about and addressed in your songs. But this one is one that, on first listen, as creative as it was something that almost brought tears to my eyes, especially because of the reality of what's in it. I'm talking of the song, you already know the song I'm saying, that's the title of the song, OBJ. What was the story? What was the story behind that song and how did you come about it?
Okay, so this was 2018, right? And so much was going on. Fulani headsmen, a lot of those Buhari terror things were just popping up everywhere. They were trying to stifle people's opinions. I was getting drowned with everything. This was after spending months in the US in 2018. We had come to the US then for, I was in US 2017, then went back 18. We had our baby in Houston in 2018. And then I got back to Nigeria, shot Mumbo Jumbo, and the future just started to get darker. It was getting more and more gloomy. So I was recording songs of the soil at the time with EXO, and I was on my way to the studio. A day before or 2 days before, the tanker accident at Otedola Bridge had happened. What's the name of that bridge? And that's my route to EXO's studio. So I had gone to Surulere to attend one interview. So people were cooking something, and I went there. So it was from that interview I just started putting everything together. I was listening to the radio, and they mentioned our kleptomaniac leaders, and all those things just started forming in my head. And the moment I got to the studio, I said, "Exo, leave this one we want to do. This is what I feel like doing right now." So I started telling him, play this, play this, play this. And there I started I was just venting. Omije was more like a vent. And then Mr. Jollof at the time was really advocating for, sanity in the system. And I heard him as well. I was like, hey, this is what I'm talking about. So I just took some of his own and put it as outro on the music. So it was basically about all of the pain in the land. But immediately after recording that, I had to do a second version with Yinka Davis, Said Muhammad, Agoha. We shot the video, but the editor is the reason why you've not seen the second version of that song. But I'll make sure you get it very soon.
Wow.
So there is a bigger version of that song. There's a bigger version of the song. This one now covers
I
everybody.
can't wait. I can't wait. I can't wait. Koffi, how sad is it that in 2018, we're talking, what, 7 years ago, certain things happened that amounted to you doing a particular song, and here we are in 2025,
Yes.
even last week, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, even up till like
Exactly.
yesterday, first day,
Yes.
and several other incidences of the same thing. Tanker
Are still happening.
explosions, tanker falling,
Are still
still happening.
happening.
How sad and painful does that make you feel?
It makes me feel like a prophet.
Oh,
But God forbid that I become a prophet of doom. You see, the fellas, the Bob Marleys, the Idris Abdul Karim are now being celebrated for being clairvoyant. And that's what we're losing in the present day Nigeria. If only present day artists can continuously to voice out, maybe things might change. A lot of artists across the globe, a lot of people kept campaigning against apartheid, and eventually it worked in the favor of Mandela. Nigerian artists, reggae artists, they were screaming it into the ears of everybody. And so for every time people were listening to those songs, they kept advocating against the South African government. And eventually they had to break apartheid. The same thing can happen if you use the art well. But you see what everybody is doing. We're all just singing about money, money, money. You know, so once in a while, I recently proposed that all these awards ceremonies should at least have a conscious music category. We don't have it. So how do you expect
exactly. True.
these people to give what they don't have? You're not waking up their consciousness or their literature skills. We're not improving our people. We're degrading ourselves with our mental capacity. Not one award ceremony in Nigeria has ever created conscious artist or conscious song of the year. In a land with that many problems, African China has never been rewarded for his contribution to the waking up of the Nigerian populace. How long are we going to continue this way? So we need
Okay.
that balance. We need it. We need the balance. Yeah. You know, from 2004, when I started making music, every album would have a pro Nigeria song. In fact, I was the first Nigerian artist at the time to make a pro Nigeria song to encourage young people not to give up on Nigeria. So I recorded it in 2005, but the album came out in 2006. So green is my home, home is my home, home is my home, to encourage young people. The following albums, every song, Wakaman movement, we have you know, we had going nowhere, nowhere. I always had a song to project Nigeria in the right light. Up to Ijile, I had Rugged Man and Terry Apala on a song called Nothing Dead Here. I even posted the video some days back on Instagram. Nothing Dead Here. I always continuously did songs to encourage us about the Nigerian prospect. But lo and behold, you wake up one day and see the mess, and you just face the reality that, look, bro, tell yourself the truth. These other people are not putting in the work that you're putting. You're doing all of this, you do 10%, and they are doing 190% to tear it down. No, in 2018, somebody was asking me Buhari. I said, I will not vote Buhari in 2019 because I already see the mess coming. So when it gets to that point, you have to face the facts that, then since you have the platform and the opportunity, use it to enlighten people. That's what I'm doing. The projection we're giving young people sometimes is actually that in all of this, we're glorious. We are not. We are not. I can see evidences everywhere that our potentials are being diminished by the state, quote unquote. I'm not saying this administration, but as a whole, the Nigerian system is calibrated in such a way that it diminishes your potentials.
Koffi, will be doing a great disservice to the. I mean, it's as a people, we owe it to ourselves to sometimes tell ourselves this truth so that we understand, the reality of where we are. Because sometimes if we do not even wake up to this consciousness, we will not realize why we need to do something to change, the narrative. As a way to end this conversation this afternoon, unfortunately, I didn't even bargain for, all of this when I was coming to work this morning. I didn't even know we were going to have this conversation. Where is the hope? Because truly, we cannot all leave Nigeria. And even if we all decide, even if all of us who can decide to leave, like you have said, your family is out there, but you still come back in here, from time to time. So it means at the end of the day, if and when Nigeria does work, it's still going to be to the benefit of all of us. What can we do, or what can we
Okay,
do?
the solution is very simple. Unfortunately, the people who have the solution would not listen. I have more than you will never end. So you see, we are the grass in the middle of the elephants, the populace. This is between the politicians. It is the show off of the politicians that is crippling Nigeria. This party is better than that party. That is what has kept Nigeria stunted. Ego. This political sector wants to prove to this other sector that we are bigger and better than you. And for doing this, we have to take a lot to stay in power. So it is power, ego, that is keeping Nigeria stunted. Unfortunately, no matter how you and I say it here, these people are already ingrained in the principle of winner takes all. So they don't understand the need to take care of the people. If I say it, they will not answer. If I keep shouting, politicians, the houses and the cars and the hotels and the prostitutes will end. Take care of the people. They will not listen. As I speak to you now, they are already on another spree. In this hard economy, they are all out here in the diaspora blazing away dollars. The little that is supposed to help the. Do you know how much these tech boys know in Nigeria? But because there are no outlets, they have turned to Yahoo boys.